Welcome to Dada Hyena's Creature Show. This week's topic is Jurassic Park, and the creatures that my Patreon backers voted for me to draw is the Dilophosaurus. So, dinosaurs. I freaking love dinosaurs. Of course, everybody in their life goes through a phase where it's just dinosaurs are the coolest damn things ever, but I loved dinosaurs for like a really long time, even into the late kid teenage phase. I was really interested in them. I think I wanted to be a paleontologist at one point, but my grades sucked, so that went on the route to drawing cartoons instead. But dinosaurs, of course, have still been a huge fascination to me, and, paleontology, of course, has changed. So many modern views are so much different than the stuff I grew up with, and even beyond, like, the really old-time traditional paleo art of the big dragging tail iguanas and whatnot. That's a topic I'll talk about another day, but for here and now, Jurassic Park. Looking back on 30 years of this film and why it still holds up so well today, and why it's still the best of the entire series. So yeah, 30 years ago, I saw Jurassic Park, and like every other kid my age who saw it, it shook your world. It rocked everything. Looking back at it 30 years later, it still holds up very well. I mean, is it corny? Yes. Is it hokey? Yes. Are lots of the parts unintentionally funny? Is there a lot of quotes from this movie that you say in kind of a joking voice? Yes, absolutely. But there is something about this film that still holds up better than so many other the big summer blockbusters, and indeed so many other Jurassic Park movies fail to do. Now, is it nostalgia? No, not really, because I'll tell you this, even as a kid, I thought the Jurassic Park sequel sucked. The first sequel, especially, The Lost World or whatever, was awful. Even as a kid, I thought it was dumb. But the first Jurassic Park I enjoy very much, and it's a solid film. It still is entertaining all the way through. The dinosaur effects still hold up very well. Everybody gives this movie credit for, basically bringing CGI to movies in a big way that hasn't done before. But remember, CGI is such a small part of this movie. A lot of the effects are just good old-fashioned practical effects. A lot of, believe it or not, yes, there are people in suits. Yes, there are fascinating uses of animatronics and whatnot. And I think one of the best examples I can think about is the creature that we're drawing today, which is the Dilophosaurus. So much of that Dilophosaurus is just done with puppets. Pull a string and the frill goes up. Practical effects like that, and they still hold up very well. It's a great sequence. As a kid who loved dinosaurs and studied dinosaurs, I will tell you, it's sort of a strange, contradictory love-hate relationship I had with the Dilophosaurus in this movie. So, yes, first of all, this is a very fictionalized, very fabricated version of a real animal. I don't need to tell you that the real Dilophosaurus was nothing like this. It was not a little midget kangaroo hopping thing. It did not spit poison. It did not have the big frilled lizard appendage around its head. And so much of what people think they know about the Dilophosaurus as a species comes from this movie, and of course, every single bit of it is wrong. Now, with that said, it was still just a fascinatingly bizarre take on it. It's like, can you imagine if, say, Jaws had been done with that kind of freedom to do whatever the hell you wanted with a real animal? If the shark flew through the air and breathed fire or something like that, you'd be like, no, they don't really do that. But at the same time, be like, what? And you'd be hooked. Well, that's the same thing with this creature. Even as a kid, even knowing that this was not an accurate representation of a real animal, it was still my favorite creature in the movie. It was just so imaginative, so strange, and it just stayed with you. Yeah, there's so much of this movie that stays with you, aside from, the quotes and the pop culture references we still make to this day, but a lot of honest-to-goodness feelings you have for the creatures, whether they were sheer terror for stuff like the velociraptors in the kitchen or the Tyrannosaurus attack on the Jeep. Yeah, it is fascinating just what an impact this movie has, how much the dinosaurs stay with you. You saw it back then, even if you're seeing it now. If you were a kid back in 1993, or even if you're a kid now seeing it, I hope kids today still like it, and a dinosaur like me can still be relevant. But yeah, 30 years later, it still is a great movie, and the Dilophosaurus is still my favorite part of it. So I'm very grateful that my Patreon backers seem to think so too, because they all voted for this guy, and it's good to know we still give a spit about these dinosaurs. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
'Cause I'm never coming back this way.